because some things don't need to be built upon, they just need to be said and received. I belong near you the way certain things just belong together, not because someone decided they should, not because logic arranged them that way, but because there is something in the nature of each that is completed by the other. That is what I feel when I am near you. I feel completed in a way that has nothing to do with being incomplete on my own. I am not coming to you from a place of emptiness, asking you to fill something, making you responsible for what is missing in me. I am coming to you from a place of fullness, from a place of having done the work of becoming whole on my own, and telling you that wholeness plus wholeness, when the two people are the right two people, creates something that neither could create alone. Something that has its own quality, its own warmth, its own particular and irreplaceable beauty. That is what I want to create with you. Not a completion of what's lacking, but an addition to what's already there. A building together of something new that belongs to both of us and to neither of us exclusively. Something we make by choosing each other, daily and deliberately, and with full knowledge of what we are doing and why. Can I tell you what choosing you looks like from the inside? Because I think it matters to understand that choosing someone is not a single moment, not a declaration made once, and then assumed to carry itself forward indefinitely. Choosing someone is a practice. It is something you do over and over, in the ordinary moments that don't announce themselves as significant, but are the actual substance of love. I want to tell you what that practice looks like for me, specifically, with you as the person I am practicing it toward. Choosing you looks like this. It looks like being in a room where something good happens, and my first instinct, before I have even consciously registered the thought, is to want to tell you. Not to tell someone to tell you, specifically you, because you are the person my good things want to travel toward. You are the direction my joy automatically points. I have noticed this about myself, and it is not something I engineered or encouraged. It simply became true at some point, while I was busy managing everything else, and I discovered it the way you discover something that has been true for a while, before you look directly at it. Choosing you looks like hearing something, a song, a phrase, a fragment of an idea, and having my mind go immediately to what you would think about it. What angle you would come at it from. What part of it would catch your attention, and what part would make you push back, and how your pushback would be more interesting than most people's agreement. I have had countless internal conversations with you about things you don't know I've been thinking about. I have argued with the version of you that lives in my mind, and lost the arguments and felt glad about it, because losing an argument to you, even the imaginary you, feels better than winning one against someone who doesn't challenge me. Choosing you looks like wanting to be better. Not better in the abstract, not the vague aspiration towards self-improvement that people carry around without any particular destination, but better in specific ways, for specific reasons, with a specific face in mind when I imagine who I am becoming and why. You make me want to be more honest, more present, more willing to sit in the difficult feelings instead of managing them into something smaller and more comfortable. More courageous in the ways that actually matter, the quiet interior ways, the kinds of courage that don't look like anything from the outside, but cause something real. You make me want to be the kind of person who deserves to be loved by someone like you. And that wanting, that specific and personal and directed wanting, has already changed me in ways I am still discovering. I want to talk about something that happened to me after that night. After the night I saw you with someone and drove home in the heavy silence, and made the decision that I was done managing this into smallness. Something happened in the days that followed that I want to share with you, because I think it tells you something important about what you mean to me, beyond the feeling itself, beyond the wanting and the love and the reaching, something about what you have already done to me, simply by existing in my life the way you have. In the days after that night, I started paying attention differently. I noticed that I had been living at a certain remove from my own experience, not dramatically, not in a way that was visible to anyone, but in a way I could feel clearly once I stopped and looked at it. I had been doing the days without fully inhabiting them. going through the motions of a life without being entirely present in it, without bringing my full self to each moment, without letting things land and move me and mean things the way they are supposed to. I had been protecting myself from the full impact of my own life, because the full impact includes the longing, and the longing is uncomfortable, and I had gotten very good at keeping it at a manageable level. But after that night, something cracked open and the protection stopped working. Everything started landing fully. The morning light came through the window, and it was so beautiful it almost hurt. A piece of music I had heard 100 times found a way into me that it never had before, and I had to stop what I was doing and just sit with it and let it move through me. A conversation I had with someone that would normally have stayed on the surface somehow went deep, and I found myself saying things I hadn't planned to say, true things that surprised me by being there. Everything became more real, more present, more full of actual feeling and actual weight and actual beauty. And I understood, slowly and then all at once, that what had cracked open was not just my willingness to tell you how I feel. What had cracked open was my willingness to feel everything, to stop cushioning my own experience against its own impact, to live in my life instead of managing it from the slightly safer position of someone who has their feelings under careful supervision at all times. You did that. The love I feel for you, finally acknowledged and finally given permission to be as large as it actually is, cracked me open enough to let everything else in too. You did not just change how I feel about you. You changed how I feel about everything. That is what real love does, I think. That is how you know it is the real kind. Not because it makes you feel good, though it does that too, but because it makes you more alive, because it increases your capacity to experience your own life, because it turns the volume up on everything, not just the romantic parts but all of it, the beauty and the difficulty and the ordinary grace of being a person in the world on any given day. Real love doesn't narrow your world to the person you love. It expands your world by teaching you to be fully present in it. And you have done that for me. You have expanded my world simply by making me feel something too large to manage, something that required me to stop managing and start actually living. I want to give that back to you. I want to be for you what you have been for me, even without knowing you were being it. I want to be the presence that makes you more alive, the voice that makes you more honest, the love that expands your world rather than asking you to make your world smaller to fit inside it. I want to love you in a way that gives you room to be all the complicated and contradictory and still evolving things that you are, room to change and grow and become without the fear that what you're becoming is moving away from what I want you to be. I want to love you without a fixed image of you that you are required to maintain. I want to love the version of you that exists right now, and the version that will exist in a year, and the version that exists in 10 years, and every version in between, with the same completeness and the same lack of condition. That is the love I have for you. Not a love that requires you to stay the same. A love that is interested in whoever you are becoming. A love that wants to witness all of it, the whole long unfolding of you, from now until whatever now eventually becomes. A love that is not afraid of time but is made more by it, deepened by it, given texture and richness, and a kind of beauty that only comes from having been present through all the seasons of someone, rather than just the easy ones. I want all your seasons. I want the warm and generous ones and the difficult contracted ones, and the ones where you are growing so fast, it's almost uncomfortable to witness, and the ones where you are resting and quiet, and turned inward, and not available to anyone including yourself. I want to love you through all of them. I want to be the constant in the middle of all the change, the thing that does not shift when the circumstances shift, the thing you can return to after any kind of season and find exactly as it was, warm and present and completely, reliably yours. Yours, I want to be yours. I want that word to mean something specific and real and lived rather than something abstract and declarative. I want to be yours the way a place you love is yours, not owned, not possessed, but belonging to you in the way that feels like home, in the way that when you arrive there something in you relaxes that you didn't know was tense, in the way that being there makes you more yourself rather than less. I want to be that kind of yours, the home kind, the place you return to, the presence that makes you feel most like the person you actually are underneath everything else. I have not stopped thinking about the moment I saw you with someone. I want to tell you that. Not obsessively, not in a way that has kept me from functioning or from being present in my own days, but in the way that a significant moment stays with you, the way a moment that changed something important tends to remain available to your memory in full detail, rather than fading the way ordinary moments fade. I can return to it at any moment and feel it completely, the whole quality of that moment, the before and the during and the after. And what I feel when I return to it now is different from what I felt in it. Then I felt the grief and the clarity and the fear. Now I feel something else. Now I feel grateful. Grateful for it. Grateful that it happened, that I was there to see it, that it was the specific thing that finally broke through the last of my carefully maintained distance and brought me here. Brought me to this honesty. Brought me to the place where I am finally saying everything I should have said a long time ago. Grateful that love, real love, found a way to make itself known even through all the management and all the walls and all the careful architecture of a person determined not to be vulnerable until he absolutely had to be. Grateful that you exist in my life in a way that made something this significant possible. Grateful that when everything cracked open, what was inside was something worth showing you. Something true enough and deep enough and real enough to be worth all the fear it cost to bring it out into the light. And now it is in the light. Between us, visible, real, waiting. And I am still here, still open, still giving you everything I have in the only way I currently can. Through these words, through this honesty, through this complete and unguarded showing